except me. But this was different. This was our beach house tradition, the one thing I thought was sacred. The beach house had been in our family since before I was born. My grandfather bought it as a surprise for my grandmother in 1965, and it had been our summer gathering place ever since. I learned to swim in that ocean, had my first kiss under that boardwalk, and celebrated every major milestone with family dinners on that deck. I pulled up my mother's number, then stopped. What would confronting them accomplish? They had already shown me exactly where I stood on their priority list. Instead, I opened my laptop and started searching through old emails. There had to be a reason they felt so confident in excluding me, and I was going to find it. 3 hours later, I had my answer, and it made my blood run cold. Last year, when the family trust was being restructured after Grandpa's death, I'd signed a stack of papers Dad had brought to my office. Just routine stuff, he'd said. Making sure everything's properly organized for tax purposes. I trusted him, why wouldn't I? He was my father, a successful real estate developer who'd always handled the family's financial matters. So I'd signed where he pointed, not bothering to read the fine print. Now, looking at the copy I finally dug out of my files, I realized what I'd actually signed, a document transferring my share of the beach house ownership to a family LLC controlled by my parents. My hands clenched around the paper. They had planned this, probably for months, get me to sign away my rights, then slowly edge me out of family gatherings, until I was nothing more than a distant relative they had to tolerate at major holidays. But they had made one crucial mistake. Before my grandfather passed away, he pulled me aside during his last Christmas with us. "Sarah," he said, his voice weak but his eyes sharp as ever, "I've left something for you with Harold. Promise me you'll go see him if anything feels wrong with the family." Harold Mason was my grandfather's lawyer, and, more importantly, his closest friend. I dismissed the conversation at the time, assuming it was just the ramblings of a dying man. Now, I wondered what exactly my grandfather had seen coming. I called Harold's office immediately. "Sarah Mitchell for Harold Mason," I said when his secretary answered. "Tell him it's about my grandfather's final instructions." Minutes later, Harold's familiar gravelly voice came through the line. "Sarah, I've been wondering when you'd call. Your grandfather was a smart man. He knew exactly how things would play out once he was gone. Can you come to my office tomorrow at 9 a.m.? I glanced at my calendar, already reaching for my laptop to clear my schedule. I'll be there. That night, I barely slept. My phone kept buzzing with more family photos from the beach house, sunset walks, seafood dinners, game nights. Each notification felt like another twist of the knife. I turned my phone face down, but I couldn't turn off my thoughts quite so easily.